Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Michael and we're going to get right back into some more stories involving some drama in relationships. If you enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. This first story was posted by a throwaway account under relationship advice. The post is titled, "I want to adopt my sister after my dad's death. My wife refused because we agreed on no children. Is there a way to fix this? I, 28M, have been married to my wife, 28F, for 2 years. We do not have kids and we do not plan to. I have a little sister, 11F. Due to the age gap, I am more like another father than a brother. My father passed away from pancreatic cancer. There are 2 options for my sister. Either I take her in or my uncle, dad's brother. So we asked her who she wanted and she chose me. Here is the problem. My wife and I decided that we did not want kids. So she does not want to adopt my sister, especially since my uncle can. But my sister has no parents now and I want to make sure she is able to recover and be healthy, and since she wants to be with me, I will not force her to be with our uncle. This is causing a lot of tension with my wife. Things escalated and finally told her I am doing this whether she agrees or not. She can either accept it or we get divorced. What can I do in such a situation?" Of course, this is just a tragic situation to be in and it's tough to pick a side because I don't think that either one is particularly in the wrong. OP's wife is justified in not really wanting to adopt a sister since she was more or less promised a life without the responsibility of having to care for a child. At the same time, OP's persistent willingness to take his sister in is commendable. Ideally, I would hope that OP's wife just gives this living situation a try and see maybe she really does enjoy kids, and it doesn't really hurt to try in my mind. In the case where both can't compromise, it sucks to say, but maybe separating really is the best option here if OP really does not want to leave his sister with the uncle. About 9 days later, OP came with an update saying, "I talked with my wife again. She still refused as she does not want kids. So we basically decided to go our separate ways. She said, 'You really are choosing your sister over me.' I told her I do not want to go into this discussion again, but if that's what you want to hear, then fine. Yes, my sister takes the priority now. I am choosing her over you." This was our last conversation. I have been living with my sister for 1 week now. Being a single father-ish brother is definitely challenging, but I am really enjoying it. Yeah, again, it sucks, but separating may be the only outcome here. In my own head, it doesn't feel great divorcing your wife when the option of allowing the sister to live with the uncle was right there. However, I understand being 11 years old, it's important that this kid is raised around the people she trusts the absolute most. And I can't exactly say that OP was wrong for choosing his sister. If anything, it's a major sacrifice on OP's behalf and very respectable. The second story we're going to be moving to is titled, "All of my scrunchies started going missing when I met my boyfriend." About a month ago, I became official with a guy named Tim. Tim is great, really responsible, honest, has a good career, etc. So far, our relationship has been great aside from the fact that since I met him, my scrunchies started going missing. It sounds stupid, I know, but I always stash scrunchies throughout my apartment. I use them every day and like them to be easily accessible. I have some in my bathroom, both in my bedrooms, my living room, my car, etc. I probably had over 20 scrunchies randomly dispersed throughout. I'm down to 6, 3 of which were in my car. At first I thought maybe I just lost 1 or 2, but before long I noticed that entire stashes were missing. It's gotten annoying because anytime I go to reach for one, it's just gone. For example, I have a drawer under my sink where I had kept about 5 scrunchies. Sounds crazy, but I tend to take them, tie my hair back, do something else, and take it out in a different room. This assured me I will always have one on hand in the room I usually need them most. I return 5 to the stash on Sundays when I clean if they got moved. The drawer now has none. The only factor in my life that has changed is my boyfriend. My dog doesn't bother them, but even if she had somehow gotten into drawers and taken to eating them, we'd probably be in the pet ER right now because 14 scrunchies is a lot. I don't think anyone is breaking in to steal them. I know I haven't lost this many. Is my boyfriend secretly a ferret? What could he possibly be doing with all of these scrunchies? My friends are joking that he has a shrine of me in his closet. One friend thinks that he's stealing them to test if I notice when things go missing and has plans to steal more, which has me sort of sketched out. He's never in my apartment alone, but he's somehow finding enough time to be alone to do this and for me not to notice. Does anyone have any ideas? I was going to confront him, but I don't want to accuse him of something so silly, but I also just don't get it. Help. Edit. Some of y'all just aren't any fun. Obviously, no one but him knows. I just wanted to preemptively prepare myself for reasonings as to why he could be doing this. Also, it's just kind of funny, so I wanted to share. I thought the way this was written would kind of show that, but some people are taking it way too seriously. He's planning on coming over tonight, so it's definitely on the agenda to inconspicuously ask him where they've gone. At this point, if he says he doesn't know, I'm just going to set up a camera because A, he's lying and needs to be called out, or B, someone unwelcome is in my apartment stealing my stuff. Someone asked if it could be my dog, but I've pulled my couch out since this has started happening, and honestly, my dog doesn't really steal things, so I'm 99% positive it's not her. She's an old girl and just sleeps mostly. Unless there's some other creature sneaking in and stealing, it's definitely a person doing it. A lot of people have said he might be tidying them up, but this is honestly impossible because there's nowhere to be found. I have a fairly large apartment, but unless he's storing them in a vent or something, they're just straight up missing. Either way, I should have some update tonight. I really don't have too much in terms of opinion so far with the story, so I don't want to ramble for too long. It certainly doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but I do think it's important to address it sooner rather than later. There's always that non-zero chance that this is just the boyfriend doing some sort of testing like OP's friends mentioned about seeing what he can get away with. But for now, my gut is telling me that that's not the case. The very next day, OP came back with an update. It says, "Y'all, he just left and I have to write this now while it's fresh in my mind." So, as many of you came at me for not doing immediately, I had a talk with him tonight. I had planned on it, but when I discovered the last batch of missing scrunchies this morning, I snapped and just wanted to get some ideas of what he could be doing with them. I didn't want to approach it via text or while either of us were working, so I figured I'd just wait till this evening to approach him. A lot of people told me that I should be able to talk to him, but it's still so new, I just didn't want to approach it at first. Most of you were wrong, but a few of you beautiful, twisted people got it right. Without further ado, allow me to provide my best recollection of the conversation. Me. I keep losing my scrunchies and it's driving me nuts. Have you seen any of them around? Him. Not really. Don't you have one on your nightstand? Me. Yeah, but I used to have a lot more and now they're missing. It's so weird. At this point, his demeanor kind of changed. To be fair, I was staring him down and he knew I knew. He just shrugged at me. The demeanor switch gave me enough of a spidey sense that I just flat out asked him why he was taking them. He initially tried to say that he didn't, then he tried to say he was accidentally taking them and said he would put them on his wrist and forget to take them off. I pressed him, saying I never saw them on his wrist and I always kiss him goodbye so I wouldn't notice. He looked like he was about to start crying and kept saying he didn't know, which didn't make sense because he clearly did. I got frustrated and raised my voice and demanded to know, at which point he admitted he was touching himself with them. I just kinda stared at him and for a second I was glad that I made the post because the initial shock wasn't as bad since it was brought to my attention that this is common. I had him explain and he said that one night early on he was at my place and we had made out, but I told him I didn't want to sleep with him yet. He shimmied away to the bathroom and had looked around for something to use as lube. I only had scented lotions around and he was worried I'd noticed that he smelt them, so he chose the next best thing, which I guess was my ultra plush towel scrunchie. After he defiled my poor scrunchie, he apparently panicked and rinsed it out and put it in his pocket. I guess this experience ignited something within him because he started taking them to please himself with. When I asked why he didn't just keep up with the same one and wash it or buy his own pack, he said that it felt better because it was mine. Cute, I guess. He told me he would never take another one and apologized profusely for being weird. He even offered to buy me new ones. While he wasn't as manipulative or scary as some people thought, I still don't love the trust that has been broken so early on and that he stole from me regardless of the reason. I asked for space and he left. So yeah, I don't really know what I plan to do from here, but now we all know. Apparently, scrunchies of your loved one feel really good if anyone wants to give it a shot, with permission of course. When I was reading and recording this, my jaw actually dropped when we realized what the guy was doing. I was absolutely not expecting that, but I guess with the benefit of hindsight, this actually sounds like the most grounded reason, shockingly. If anything, that bit about stealing to test the waters to steal more seemed a bit more far-fetched than what was actually happening. How you digest and react to this outcome, though, I think really depends on what kind of person you are. If you want to freak out, it's entirely valid, but at the same time, if this is your partner and you guys are deep into each other, I really don't think that this is that big of a deal. But to be clear, the act itself is not that big a deal in my opinion. Lying and hiding it all is a major issue. I will admit the behavior is still very weird and borders on stalkerish, I want to say, but then again, this is her boyfriend, so maybe there's better terminology for that. Anyway, if OP chooses to break up with the boyfriend, I don't see it as unreasonable. However, it does seem that my reaction is very tame, especially compared to the comments. And that's going to end it for today's video. Let me know what you all thought. The first story was relatively wholesome, although the ending was rather bittersweet. But then any semblance of wholesomeness was completely ripped away in that second story. Again, I feel like I'm in the minority with how I reacted. I wasn't sure how far along the couple was, but they did say that they've been together for about a month. If the two were never actually intimate with each other up to that point, then okay, yeah, this was entirely too far. Anyway, make sure to like, and if you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, consider checking out GamerSupps link below for your caffeine supplements and use my code DLAM for a discount at checkout.